Hello, how are you? I'm Jeffrey Allman, yoga teacher, meditation guide, mindfulness coach. And today we're going to talk about Sun Salutation A. Yeah, Sun Salutation A. I'm going to break it down for you. So in every class, every yoga class, physical asana yoga class that you do, you are probably going to find your way into a Sun Salutation A, or Sun A might be another way that you hear it referred to. And your yoga teacher may just say, okay, everybody, they'll take you through one quickly and then tell you to do like 3 or 4 on your own to get heated up, to get loosened up, to get ready to fall into class. Also, it's very important to warm up your joints and your muscles so that you don't tear or pull anything. And that's important. At the beginning of this, just remember this: no tearing, no stabbing, right? Sensation is great, but we're looking for the edge of that and not going beyond it. It's not important that you find the perfect expression of each one of these postures. It's important that you find the intention. Yeah. And so bring this practice to you, not you to this practice. Whatever size you are, if you're plus size like I am, whether you're, any gender, any identity, yoga really is for you. It's a good way to get to know yourself and your body and to fall in yourself. Okay, so Sun Salutation A is just a series of postures. I'm just going to first show it to you without describing it. A quick Sun Salutation A. That's it. Okay? That's Sun Salutation A. All right. So what did I just do there? And funny thing is, you may do this differently every time. So I'm going to offer some modifications as I'm going through and telling you what each posture is. So the first one that I did right here is Urdhva Hastasana. Urdhva Hastasana. You'll never hear me say Urdhva Hastasana in one of my classes. Although I was required through 2 different yoga teacher trainings in my life and 20 years of yoga to learn a lot of Sanskrit, I don't often use it because it's not necessarily what feels natural coming out of my mouth. But if you hear a teacher saying Urdhva Hastasana, that's an upward salute. It's just as simple as, and remember, this is a good time to talk about breathing. Inhaling, yes, you're opening up the front of the body. Whenever in your body you feel yourself opening, you feel this heart opening, that's a good cue to inhale. And some teachers may instruct every single breath and other teachers may not. And I think it's important that if a teacher is instructing a breath, they're going to breathe at a different pace than you. Everybody in the class is going to breathe in a different pace than you. So remember, this practice is yours. Move and breathe at your pace. The whole point of this practice is to bring you into this moment right now, connecting your breath to your body, to the present, to this awakening, this like awareness in this moment. Okay, so here we go. Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. And then you'll exhale as you're closing. And as you exhale, you'll push your belly button towards your spine, Uttanasana, forward facing fold. Or some teachers may say forward fold or forward folds. They may say ragdoll. So once you're in this posture, which is this, and I'll show it to you from the side, this forward fold, you may say some teachers put their hands at the side of their feet. They may touch their toes. They may be in front of them on the floor. Your hands may come nowhere near the floor, and that's okay. You may bend your knees. Don't want my pants to fall down in the video. You may bend your knees a lot. Oh, yes. And really feel that tension, your whole spine lengthening. Oh, wonderful. Maybe you add a little movement to your forward fold. Maybe you grab opposite elbows. Maybe your hands to the hot sides of your head, but no pressure on your head or your neck. These are all acceptable ways to forward fold. Maybe your hands only come this far in a forward fold or this far. I remember before I got really heavy into yoga, not even being able to kind of go past my knees. And now, just to give you an idea of the possibility of a forward fold, I now can stand completely on my hands. That takes time. I'm always getting a little deeper. I'm always finding a little more, but I don't rush there, and neither should you. So no tearing, no stabbing, no sharp pain. It's this beautiful sensation that expands within you, okay? So let's see what we've learned so far. So it's this inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, and then exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Upward salute, hands up, exhale, forward fold or forward folds. See that? Simple, right? And then the next one's super simple, and if you were watching it and not really knowing what was going on, it's a halfway lift is how I instruct it. It's another opportunity to inhale gorgeously, deeply, and expansively. And it's also called Ardhva Uttanasana. Ardhva Uttanasana. So here we go. See that? And some people can do that from the floor. They're able to straighten their back and still keep their hands on the floor. But if you notice, if your back is still rounded at all, it's okay to bring your hands to your shins. Let your heart really shine forward. The crown of your head drawing from your tail. Oh, yes. Oh, so good. And I'll never use the Sanskrit for this. I will just say halfway lift. Some people call it a half standing forward bend. It's like technicalities. It just feels good to straighten your back, to draw your crown away from your tail. Ardha Uttanasana. See, I just said it wrong. Ardha Uttanasana. Right? Oh, yeah. So that's halfway lift. And then, so there's many ways to do each one of these. I just want to suggest something. You'll notice that I have blocks around, and I think this is a good opportunity to mention the blocks for the halfway lift. If you really want to luxuriate, I've got a couple different, in fact, I have 3 different size blocks here, as you can see, okay? And I have these really big blocks that I love, these monster blocks. So if you're new to yoga, or maybe you're older, or you've just got some body issues as far as like injuries, something going on with your body, the whole purpose of a block is to bring the ground closer to you. And you may have nothing wrong and you just want to feel how well you can express this. So think about this in this Ardha Uttanasana. See that? This wonderful flat back. Yeah, it's really nice. And that's maybe how you start to work your way down closer, still keeping a flat back, but closer to the floor with different size blocks. So you can really start to get yourself closer and closer while still keeping the back flat. See that? A big part of that is how open are you in your hamstrings and your calves? So these are all things to think about. And I know I'm really getting into like the depths of the Sun A. But I think it's important because it's so simple. And I think a lot of teachers, myself included, we think, oh, people know what Sun A is. And so why do we need to like belabor it? I like personally love when a teacher gets deeply into all the details, because what I've realized is in the simplest of postures, listening to a fresh perspective can help me see that posture through someone else's eyes. So almost like posture empathy. And I may approach it then in a new way and find this beautiful new expression in my body that lets something loose, that strengthens something new. Yeah. So don't think, oh, I know all this. Think, what can I learn that I already knew from a new perspective? Okay, so the next one is plank. It's simple, right? All right, so here we go. What have we done so far? Arms up, inhale, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, plank. Your hands come to the ground and your feet come back. Maybe it's one big step. Now there's a few different ways, so I'm going to show this several times. So it could be here, okay? It could be, if you really engage your core and your abdominals and you start practicing for a while, you might be able to jump, kind of shoot your feet back. So I'll demonstrate that. Just like that, see? And then in plank, your fingers are spread wide, your palms are flat on the floor, your abdominals are engaged, your pectorals are engaged, your triceps and biceps are engaged, your back, your quads. It's a full body workout. And if it's a lot, maybe you bring your knees to the floor, and that's okay. Yeah. You can choose to skip that all together if you want and just work your way right down to the floor in whatever easy, least offensive, least painful way, eventually finding your plank. But eventually it'll just feel natural. Some people go directly kind of, rather than through a plank, kind of through a downward dog. So, okay. So now the next step is our Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, which is also known as a four-limbed staff pose or Chaturanga Dandasana. So it's a push-up, right? That's so much, right? So it's essentially, it's just a push-up, right? So we're in the plank and we're coming down just like this. Now, here's the key thing. It's more than a push-up. There's a lot of form involved to doing this properly. And I talk to and coach my students a lot in Chaturanga Dandasana, okay? So I want you to notice my elbows are going straight back towards my feet, not out. And that's what I was kind of demonstrating at the beginning. So a lot of people will do these push-ups and you see their elbows going out from their body, right? Kind of like I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but I feel like when I was, doing sports in middle school and high school, football or wrestling, there was a lot of us boys who kind of did this push-up. That's not the push-up that we're looking for. We're looking to really engage, and it's key. I like to really coach this push-up, this Chaturanga Dandasana, through where the pressure is in your hands and what muscles are firing, okay? So your fingers are spread wide, your palms are flat on the floor, you're pushing down and forward, and you could feel it. Do that without even touching the floor, down and forward. My pecs are engaging, my biceps are engaging, my triceps are engaging, my back is engaging. And what's key, when I come down for this push-up, my elbows don't go past my back, okay? I'm not like this. See that? I'm not that. Because that's a lot on the elbows, and there's an issue sometimes in yoga called RSI, a repetitive stress injury. So if you do something poorly over and over and over again, you can cause damage. And oftentimes that's damage to knees, hips, shoulders, wrists, ankles. It's the joints. All the little synergistic muscles you've been cheating movement in your life without proper form using the big muscles. So oftentimes you're using the smaller, weaker muscles just to kind of limp through something. So it's important in Chaturanga Dandasana because you could choose to do a lot of them and you could choose to do extra. So this is a fun thing. If you really want to build heat, a simple yoga practice, what I'm teaching you today, you could just do 5 or 10 Sun A's. You could add extra Chaturanga Dandasana push-ups and it's like a full body workout and that's it. I know, I'm a yoga teacher and I give you all these tricks and then you're like, well, I never need to take yoga again. I can just do this on my own. And maybe you do, but hopefully you join me in community and join one of my classes. All right, so let's look at that Chaturanga Dandasana. In fact, let's look at it through the lens of going through this practice. Okay, so here we go. Inhale. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plank. Take an inhale here in plank. And then exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. And then inhale on the up. You can stay here. You can do extra push-ups. You can do as many as you want. You could get really fancy and do with one leg in the air, maybe adding a Spider-Man push-up. You can build heat a lot of ways, but don't build heat by causing a repetitive stress injury in your body. So it's like the entire time your abdominals are engaged, the entire time your chest is engaged, the entire time you are present. You're not just making shapes, you're not just trying to keep up with the class. You're trying to properly breathe, completely connected to your body, your practice, your breath, your state of mind. Yeah. Okay, so the next one is my favorite, and it's Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. You're never gonna hear me say that in class. That is upward facing dog. But I wanna caution you this. Oftentimes on the first Sun A, you may not go directly to up dog. So I'll show you what an up dog looks like as we're practicing here, but I'm gonna show you some different options. Oh, and I should say, as I'm skipping ahead, in Chaturanga Dandasana, for that push-up, which I was showing you this way, first of all, you can skip it. You can stay in plank. You can go to downward facing dog. Instead, also, you could put your knees on the ground and do it just like that. Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways to do that potential push-up, okay? But once you've done it, let's go through the whole Sun A breakdown again. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Yes, and then inhale. Oh, wonderful. This is the up dog. Your fingers are spread wide. Your hands are directly below your shoulders rolled back, heart open. Oh, gaze ahead. Really wonderful. Upward facing dog. But that could be severe for your first run through. So before you do that, you may want to try a Sphinx first, which is your elbows ahead of your shoulders, heart open, fingers spread wide, palms flat on the floor, tops of your feet into the floor. This is a Sphinx posture. Maybe roll your head, that'll feel good. Take that first Sun A super slow and check in here. Or maybe it's a low cobra. In the low cobra, your hands are at your low rib cage, your elbows are back behind you, squared off. Think of the wonderful geometry in your body. You start lifting using your back. You're pushing down and forward with your hands, just enough to engage the chest muscles and the biceps, but you're doing the work with your back. And that's your low cobra. And maybe you end up eventually at the high cobra, which is your legs still on the ground. Here you're using your upper body as well as your back to get you here. Gorgeous. So Sphinx, low cobra, high cobra, and of course up dog. I know this is a lot. I put this in a YouTube video so that you can like come back to it, do it over and over and over again. And then the last thing I'm teaching you is where you go from up dog, which is to down dog, or Adho Mukha Svanasana. Adho Mukha Svanasana. I'll never say that. I'll say downward facing dog. Downward facing dog is an interesting one because if you're brand new to yoga, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be much. Most people are kind of amazed at how hard downward facing dog can be. So I'm going to offer several different ways to do downward facing dog. So to go through the whole, where we're at, the whole Sun A, here we go. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Take an inhale in plank, exhale, inhale, exhale. This is it. right here. This is downward facing dog. Here we go. So talk about downward facing dog. My fingers are spread wide. Your fingers are spread wide. Your palms are flat on the floor. Your heels are coming towards the floor. Now you'll notice I'm able to bring my heels to the floor and even bring my toes off the floor. That's not important, okay? Your heels can come up off the floor. The intention is the heels towards the floor. And then straight lines from your wrists to your hips, from your ankles to your hips. Like a nice triangle, just like that. Your abdominals are engaged. Maybe your knees are bent. You can bend your knees to bring your heels closer to the floor. Your shoulders are outwardly rotated. So imagine there's a tattoo on your back. You want it to be legible. So you're outwardly rotated. Yes. Totally engaged. Oh, yes. And notice my body when I do this. Yeah. Extended, long, outwardly rotated. Really feel that. Your head is free, shaking yes or shaking no. Yeah. Okay. So that can get hard. This eventually becomes this resting posture is what we say. And it does beget, you do it so often that this actually becomes rest when you've been doing a bunch of push-ups and balances and, standing flows and just, everything can be super exhausting, which it's a good exhausting, but this becomes easier. So one thing I like to pedal in down dog. So you can do that. Okay, bend your knees a lot maybe. Maybe you bring your knees all the way to the floor and do a puppy dog. Yeah, so it's different. And you may, if you're a yogi, you may think, wait, puppy dog, that looked like child's pose. So child's pose, and this is not part of Sun A, but child's pose, maybe your knees go wide and your hips go toward your feet. With puppy dog, if down dog is really hard for you, I like to give this as a alternative. Your hips are up. Kind of one of my favorite cues in down dog is your hips goes towards where the wall meets the ceiling behind you. So kind of the same in puppy dog, right? Your hips go towards the wall meets the ceiling behind you. It's a nice, wonderful, long through your fingers are spread wide, your palms are flat on the floor. Maybe massage your head on the floor. So that is a wonderful modification. Now, here's another thing. Maybe it's hard. Maybe down dog is just too much on your wrists. Okay, so there's a lot of ways, not necessarily easier in your body, but easier in your wrist. You could bring your hands to the floor. More of a dolphin, but you could do this instead of a down dog, just like that. Or grab your hands together if that's a little more stable for you. That's an alternative. Maybe you're just doing one leg at a time and you're on your knees. Maybe enter the blocks. It's easier on blocks for you. So maybe you've got these big, gorgeous blocks. And actually, let's start with these high. What is the intention here? What am I doing in down dog? So I'm lengthening the back body. I'm opening. See this? Oh, it's so good. I'm getting the intention of down dog without the stress on my wrists. This feels really good. My armpits drawing down. My hips drawing towards where the wall meets the ceiling behind me. Lengthening. Outward rotation in the shoulders. And again, a good way to describe that is imagine there's a tattoo along your back. You don't want it scrunched up. You want it nice and open so you could read that tattoo. Yeah. So now you know Sun Salutation A or Sun A. Yeah. Use blocks. Practice lots. Play this video over and over again. Maybe come practice. I teach a couple public yoga classes a week. You could come join those. I also offer private yoga classes and always more content, more videos coming right here to YouTube with Yoga with Jeffrey. So hopefully you subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see. Maybe I'll break down a pose for you or a sequence for you or posture or shape or breath. Stay curious. Be wonderful.